It's the evening weather briefing for Friday, the 3rd of October, and this is the evening edition. I am Josh Brown. I hope that you all had a great Friday and also hope that you had a great Thursday. And first off, I want to say that I do apologize for not coming in last night because I got off work really late, but not tonight though. So this is a pretty good time, to do the forecast. Here we are on this Friday evening. So here I am. But anyways, as we're about to close out the work week and as we're about to enter our first weekend of October, we do have a weak area of low pressure that is going to continue to keep our rain chances pretty high as we head into the next couple days, and that is related to a small wave, tropical wave that is out in the Atlantic, so which I'll have more details about that here in just a little bit, along with an update on the rest of the tropics. But let's go ahead and get to the radar and see what's happening this evening across central Florida. And it looks like most of our area is looking dry as we're closing out yet our first Friday of October. But if you go up here towards the coast of Volusia in Brevard, or not Brevard, Flagler counties, excuse me, we do have a few spotty areas of showers over here in areas such as near Hammock Beach, right down here towards Bunnell, and on top of Cypress Knoll and 100. That's the name of the highway there, by the way. And we also have a couple of one or two coastal showers over here towards the coast of Flagler Beach. And then some down here in the northern side of Volusia County around highways 11 and 40, which is just to the east of Pearson, Barberville, and Conrad. And we have a few more spotty shower activity too, also over here towards Deadman Landing, up around near, we'll say, towards 305. Basically, this is basically just to the east of Seville, Senya, and Bakerstown. But if I could go ahead and play the loop, it appears some of these quick moving showers are moving from a northeasterly to a southwesterly direction, we'll say at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So they should remain here for a little bit longer, but I think the activity should diminish by midnight before we see another better chance yet of more showers and storms. As I mentioned just a moment ago, as we head into both your Saturday and Sunday. And if you may notice over here towards Volusia and Brevard counties, there are flood watches posted with that weak area of low pressure that is out in the Atlantic, that could cause some potential of some slow moving showers and thunderstorms from the east to west that can cause some potential of some flooding concerns. So that's something we'll be watching in the next couple of days. So just be mindful about that. So let's go ahead and, speaking of which, of the tropics, uh, as we zoom out towards the Atlantic region, is what I should say. Got my words mixed up there, so just bear with me. Go ahead and turn on the tropical outlook icons. And yeah, we have two waves out there, and as I mentioned just a moment ago, we do have a small wave, which is known as a weak area of low pressure. A weak area of low pressure, excuse me, that is out near the Bahamas region, and it looks like, according to the latest info from the National Hurricane Center, it looks like it is near the central and the northwest Bahamas and is producing disorganized areas of showers and thunderstorms this evening. And it seems the system is expected to drift westward to a northwesterly direction into the northwest side of the Bahamas and towards southern Florida during the next couple of days. And it seems that stronger upper level winds are expected to prevent significant development, which is good, of the low. However, the combination of the disturbance in the broader remnant boundary is still expect to produce heavy rainfall and potential flooding across portions of the Sunshine State and the Bahamas through the weekend. And again, like I said just now, with the area of low pressure moving pretty slow, and with these waves of showers and thunderstorms moving in here towards the central and the southern side of the Florida Peninsula, that can cause again some potential flooding concerns. So again, if you see flooding on area roadways, if you're driving out and about this weekend, again, the best thing to do is to turn around and don't drown, okay? And then behind that, we also have another wave that is out towards the Atlantic. This is off the west coast of Africa. And it's producing again a broad area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. And the wave is forecast to interact with another disturbance over the eastern tropical Atlantic and then move westward after that. And conditions are expected to become more conducive for some slow development of this system in the next few days. And looks like a tropical depression may form near or east of the Lesser Antilles by the end of next week. It seems the Hurricane Center has given about a 50% chance for, 50% chance of formation within the next 5 to 7 days. And if this does become into a tropical storm with this system, the next name on the list will become Jerry. So just be mindful about that too. But at least for right now, there's no concerns here for the United States or for here in Florida uh, with that wave yet in the southern Atlantic. But across the central Atlantic region and for the Gulf and the central Caribbean, the tropics looks quiet right now with no formations expected within the next 5 to 7 days. So that's the latest there on the tropical update wise. Let me go ahead and turn off the tropical icons and switch back to the local radar. And yet, as you can see here, as we go back in for another view, we do have again some areas seeing some coastal showers, and again, it's mostly up here towards northern Volusia and Flagler counties, as you saw here just a few minutes ago. But again, the activity will continue for a little bit longer, but should be diminishing by midnight. But other than that, the rest of our market is looking quiet. So if you have some plans this evening, get out and enjoy while you could. So let's go ahead and check out the current temperatures outside this evening. And as you can see here, we have low to mid 70s that we're at and about in our area, with perhaps a little bit warmer south where you have temperatures sitting in the upper 70s and perhaps also in the lower 80s too, such as Fort Myers, Marco Island, in the Keys region. And then you got temperatures up here looking to be a little bit on the cool side, but mostly mild. And that is yet some 60s into the low to mid 70s across the lower half of the Mississippi Valley, and some upper 70s for current temperatures around Destin and the Panama City Beach areas too. So let's go ahead and switch on over to the Hermaldo, which does take you through the next 18 hours. And yet, if you're just coming on into this live broadcast, I don't mind if you could share this with your friends, families, followers, etc. And yet, as always, you know my motto: sharing is caring. And before we get to the rest of our update, I'm going to go ahead and share this broadcast to a few other Facebook group pages. So just give me just a few more minutes, and as always, we'll move on. All right, sorry about that again, folks. Okie dokie, so here's a check on temperatures as we head into the rest of our night and on into the first half of your Saturday. And yet, we'll see morning low temperatures beginning off in the, let's see here, a little bit on the cool side, but still mild with upper 60s and low 70s. And if you're looking for any 60s, I think the better chances to see that will be mostly just around the northern and western portions of our market. And that includes Marion County, perhaps for portions of Sumter, and maybe extreme northwestern Lake County. So that's where you can see some 60s to begin with. And of course, these 60s to perhaps as low as the 50s will be mostly up north across the Interstate 10 corridor and north towards the valley. The better shot to see 50s for lows tomorrow morning will be up here towards the central part of the Peach State of Georgia, and that includes the Atlanta area. Now, for the rest of our market, like I-4 and south, it appears temperatures will begin a little bit on the warm side, where you have low to mid 70s and maybe as high as the upper 70s right down here towards the eastern side of the coastline of Florida, from Brevard County down south towards the Keys region. And then as we approach the 1 o'clock hour tomorrow, we'll see temperatures getting up into the upper 70s and into the low, and for some of you in the mid 80s. And that's when we'll see these showers and thunderstorms going around that time, which we'll see that here in just a second or so as I switch over to the reflectivity product. Yep, and here it is. It looks like we'll see some of these. Looks like we'll see some of these showers and thunderstorms get going here between about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning for the eastern part of the state, from Flagler County down south towards the Fort Pierce communities. And then, of course, the activity pushing a little westward towards the central part of the state, heading towards 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But if we could switch over to the NAM model, which does take you through the next yet couple of days, looks like we'll see yet some on and off activity here for most of our state between late afternoon and early evening, with the coverage staying mostly at about 40 to a 50, if not to a 60% coverage. So it's not going to rain all day long, so just keep that in mind. But we'll see better chances thanks to that weak area of low pressure that is out in the Atlantic. But just have the rain gear handy with you. And if you're thinking about heading to the beaches this weekend, well, just be mindful about the rip currents, because that's going to still remain pretty high as we head into the next couple of days. So I do recommend just avoiding being out of the water if you possibly can. And then, yet the wet weather pattern continues as we head into your Sunday. And it seems the storm chances will start to pick up a bit here. We'll say at 70% as we head towards 6 p.m. Sunday evening, especially from Lake County, stretching off towards the east into northern Brevard, which includes Titusville, for example. And yet the activity may linger here into the late night hours of Sunday as the patch of rain pushes up towards the north into our northern sections of our market. And yet still happening around 2 in the morning on Monday. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how much rain some spots may get from these storms as we head into the next few days, especially through Monday morning. And we're talking basically between about 3 to 4 inches or so of rain from Orange County off towards the east into Brevard counties, with perhaps as high as 4 to 5 inches down into the southern part of the state, from near Fort Pierce to the Fort Lauderdale communities, with less totals along the west side of the peninsula. And that's why the flood watches again are posted for the east side of the state, because of the potential for some flooding, with totals yet increasing thanks to all that tropical moisture coming in from the Bahamas, and that weak area of low pressure too. As I've said here, like for the fourth or fifth time already. So let's go ahead and check temperatures heading into the next few days. And it appears as we head into the second half of the day on your Saturday, we'll see high temperatures yet getting up as high as the upper 70s and into the lower 80s. And more of the same thing up here too, also for the Mississippi Valley region. So we're talking somewhat of a fall pattern as we approach your Saturday. And then we'll see temperatures, yes, stay mild, but in the middle to upper 70s as we approach 10 o'clock tomorrow night, with low 70s and upper 60s up here for the Atlanta area and a little down south into southwestern Georgia. So could be a perfect night for evening plans then if you have some. And then as we approach the overnight, late Saturday on into early Sunday morning, yeah, we'll see morning low temperatures beginning off a little bit on the warm side than it'll be for tomorrow. And this time we're talking low to mid 70s to begin with, heading into that time, with temperatures not quite as cool than it'll be for Saturday. Instead, it looks like there could be some 60s and low 70s to begin with in the Mississippi Valley region. And moving into the afternoon, we'll see temperatures once again remain just average or a little bit below that. We have yet upper 70s and into the lower 80s, and it looks like numbers will start to be a little bit on the warm side over here towards the Tampa Bay area and down towards Fort Myers, where they're expecting to only hit as high as the upper 80s to some spots flirting around or close to 90. And yet, temperatures up here north will be mostly the same for us here in central and north Florida. And yet, that's another round of upper 70s and lower 80s as the afternoon progresses. Again, not tomorrow, but on Sunday. And then as the clock continues into the late night hours of Sunday on into early Monday morning, we'll see yet another warm night with potential lows beginning in the low to mid 70s here for the state, and then a little bit cooler, just slightly, in the 60s and low 70s up in the valley. So let's go ahead and switch gears to the GFS as we head into the next couple of weeks. So heading into Monday, it looks like we'll see the rain chances still looking pretty high for central and mostly across the entire state of Florida. Yet, thanks to that weak area of low pressure off towards the Bahamas, so we're going to call for about a 60% coverage of seeing some of that activity here for our state as Monday arrives, and perhaps with the moisture also trying to increase a bit here towards the lower half of the Mississippi Valley region for places like New Orleans, Biloxi, Jackson, or a little south there, and perhaps over towards the southwestern portions of Alabama and southeastern Georgia. Thanks to that little wave that's out in the Bahamas region. And it looks like we'll keep temperatures yet running close to average for now, just in the low to mid 80s. We'll call it for Monday, with perhaps a little cooler up north in the 70s and lower 80s in the Mississippi Valley region. And as we make our way into the day on Tuesday, October 7th, yet the same thing, the wet weather pattern continues, but the chances for rain will start to decrease a little bit, we'll say at about 50%. And yet the better chances to see that will be mostly along Interstate 95 between Jacksonville down towards the farther south you go into the Keys region, with less chances a little west along Interstate 75 from Marion County down south into Fort Myers. And it looks like we'll keep yet our temperatures running close to average. For now, we're just going to call for highs in the middle to upper 80s here for both Central and South Florida, with numbers starting to jump up in the lower 90s as we head into Tuesday for the Panhandle side of the state and for the extreme southern part of Georgia. And then you also have temperatures that may start to warm back in the upper 80s as well for the valley heading into Tuesday. All right, now this is on Wednesday of next week, October 8th, and it looks like the chances for any wet weather will continue to decrease, this time at about 30 to a 40% coverage. Mainly, we'll say from Volusia County down south towards the Keys region as the weak area of low pressure that is, starts to wind down. And we'll see some of that dry air work its way into, we'll say, the western and the northwest side of the state from the north across Alabama, Georgia, and portions of South Carolina. And yet, keeping temperatures running, like I've said before, just average in the middle to upper 80s to some of you in the lower 90s, especially for the Panhandle side of the state, up into the southern tier of Alabama, stretching up into Georgia, and for portions of South Carolina. So we're talking a little bit of a summer pattern that we're going to be seeing here by midweek here, but we're not talking anything sweltering. So just so you know. All right, now this is next Thursday, October 9th, and yet the chances for any showers and thunderstorms stays elevated at about 40 to a 50% coverage, and yet the better shot at that will be mostly staying along the eastern side of the state, while the west and northwest side of Florida tends to stay fairly dry. There might be some spotty areas of showers and thunderstorms that could form over here towards the eastern side of Alabama and stretching more east you go into South Carolina, if this is true heading into Thursday. With the rain chances staying elevated yet at about 40%, just like for here in the eastern half of the Sunshine State. And yet keeping temperatures around the warm side, with middle to upper 80s for the east side of the state, while there could be low 90s along the western coast of the state up into the southern tier of Alabama and for southwestern Georgia. And I do believe there might be a new front moving in from the north to south, and that could bring some cool temperatures around Georgia and South Carolina as numbers may start to drop from the 80s to the 60s and low 70s if that's the case. And let me check the low temperatures here for the first half of next Friday, October 10th, and it shows just a cool beginning. Yet for that same spot, just in the upper 50s and low 60s. So it seems that the new front itself may not be approaching our direction, unfortunately, as that time arrives. Again, that's next Friday. I'm referencing to. But yet, the eastern side of the state continues to see yet more waves of showers and thunderstorms by the 10th. Again, from areas between St. Johns County down south towards the Keys region, and we'll keep the chances for that at about 50 to a 60% coverage. And it looks like some of our inland areas could see just an elevated chance for a few showers and storms by next Friday too. And the coverage again does increase as well up here towards the lower portion of the Mississippi Valley, yet at about 50% too. And for now, we're just going to keep temperatures yet running close to average in the middle to upper 80s to some spots, yet hitting around or close to 90 as the end of next week arrives, with temperatures yet looking to stay somewhat in a fall way with some 70s and low to mid 80s in the Mississippi Valley region. All right, and this is on Saturday, October 11th, the beginning of the Columbus Day weekend, and it looks like we'll keep the chances for rain still elevated at about 40% while the moisture starts to increase from the Gulf, and that could really fire up those high rain chances up in parts of Mississippi and covering most of the state of Alabama, and we'll say parts of Georgia too. We'll say as high as 60% if this is right, but again, it's just way too soon to know at this point if that's going to happen, so that can well change. And so far, no changes to temperatures heading into that same day, as we'll keep yet things average in the 80s and into the lower 90s. And then you also have temperatures staying a little on the cool side, but mild in the 70s and low 80s for the eastern side of Alabama on into as far as east you go into the coastline of South Carolina. All right, now this is on Sunday, October 12th, and still the chances for storms remains yet, as always, in an elevated pattern. That's at about 40 to a 50% coverage, and it seems the new system that will bring the better chances for rain. Then here we'll shift off towards the east into the eastern sections of Alabama, on into most of Georgia, and perhaps as far as South Carolina, as the coverage then for those sections will remain pretty high at about 60 to a 70% coverage. And as we check the high temperatures, and so far still no changes to it, as we'll keep numbers just average in the upper 80s and low 90s across the entire state, while temperatures will start to drop a little bit, perhaps with a new front moving in, and we're talking a slightly cool down where we could be seeing some lower to middle 80s, to sort of speak here for the valley. And if we check the low temperatures on the 12th, it shows that with the front moving in, that could start to drop temperatures a bit cooler in the 50s and low to mid 60s in the valley. And looking ahead to the first half of Columbus Day, this is on Monday, October 13th, and it shows this time temperatures beginning off as cool as the middle 50s for the central part of Alabama on into the west side of Georgia, close to Atlanta, if that's right. But it looks like the front yet may not be approaching our direction, as you can see here, as lows may begin in the low to mid 70s, so no changes there. But there could be some lower 60s for low temperatures if this is right, as the cool air starts to push as far south as Pensacola. So we'll see again how that could play out. But like I've said, that can well change as we get closer to the middle part of this month and the late part of the month of October too, as we're about to enter the land of voodoo country. Now, this is the second half of Columbus Day, and it shows the rain chances starting to wind things down a little bit, but still there. We'll say at 50%, not just for here in Florida, but also up into we'll say as far as Savannah and Charleston. But the dry air will start to kick in into the Mississippi Valley, portions of the Mississippi Valley region, from Mississippi off towards the east you go into southwest Georgia, and for the Panhandle side of the state of Florida. And yet, keeping temperatures warm in the 80s and low 90s for now, with high temperatures yet looking to stay somewhat like fall in the upper 70s and into the low, if not for some, in the mid 80s. All right, here we are in the land of voodoo country. This takes you into Tuesday, October 14th, and it shows the rain chances for now staying pretty low at about 30%. So we're not talking like a widespread rain event, but the better chances will stay farther south, where the chances could end up increase as high as 60% from Fort Pierce down into the Keys area, while the valley while the valley itself will tend to stay fairly quiet, if that's right. And it looks like we'll keep temperatures yet running a bit warmer, but average in the middle to upper 80s to some spotty areas hitting around or close to 90. And looks like temperatures up north across the valley will turn out to be almost the same thing, but just a little bit on the average side, and that is middle to upper 80s. And in places like from Mississippi stretching off towards the far east, you go into the Charleston area, which is in South Carolina. Looking at the lows for the first half of the 14th shows yet another cool start to the day for the western part of Alabama, as it tends to begin off in the middle to upper 50s from Birmingham down into the Gulf Coast side of the state. That then includes Pensacola and Mobile. And for us, we'll see low temperatures beginning off still mild, but just tad cooler, you can call it, with upper 60s and low 70s to begin with, and then you have mid 60s up into East Georgia and portions of South Carolina. All right, now this is on Wednesday, October 15th, and it shows the rain chances picking up again. This time for the east coast of Florida, from Flagler down into the Keys region, as we may see the chances increase as high as 60%, while the northwest side of the state in the Mississippi Valley remains yet fairly quiet as the dry air works its way in from north to south. And checking out these temperatures on the 15th, and it shows, at least for right now, looking to be slightly cooler but mild in the upper 70s and into the low, if not mid 80s, with temperatures a bit warmer up north in the upper 80s and low 90s in parts of the northwest side of the state in the Mississippi Valley region. And then this is on Thursday, October 16th. And if this is right, it seems that a new tropical mischief may start to brew down towards the southern Gulf Coast region. So that's something we may have to watch. But as you know, we're still 2 weeks out, so that can well change as we get closer to the middle part of the month. Let me check the wind product to see if there's anything interesting to see or watch. It looks like wants to show this potential mischief hanging around or dancing around Cuba, like near Havana, but it doesn't show any signs of becoming into a tropical storm or a hurricane strength. But it does actually a little bit as it pushes up towards the north, close to our neck of the woods here, as we head into the first half of the morning of Saturday, October 18th. And it shows this system making landfall towards Tampa and perhaps closer to our viewing area. So yeah, something we could watch, but again, I'm not buying this because this is way too early to know at this point. So, like I've said before, it can well change for sure. And it looks like it shows for now, heading into the 19th, the system moving away from Florida and off towards the Atlantic. And remember, this is still hurricane season, and usually the peak of it tends to wind down by mid-October. But even if we're heading into the less, or not, I wouldn't say less, I should say the off-peak season, we can still see tropical activity across the Atlantic and the Gulf or the Caribbean. But the official ending of the season is not until November 30th, so we still have another month to go until we get through yet the rest of the season. And it shows, as far as the rain totals go here for the morning of the 19th, as the system moves in, potentially making landfall. It brings totals anywhere from between about 4 to 7 inches from Tampa down, or not down, but up into as far as Sumter County, up in the northeast, or can't even speak here tonight, the southeastern tip of Marion County, up into northern Flagler. And if that's right, that could lead into the potential for some flooding concerns. But understand, this is not a forecast. This is just something to watch, since that we're still 2 weeks out. And then it looks like the totals may stay the same thing as we head into the second half of the 19th, too, before that's said and done. But it shows temperatures staying pretty warm once the tropical mischief moves into our area, and it seems we could see some 80s and low 90s, which doesn't usually happen when we see things like that for the state. But it looks like there might be an approaching front coming in from the northwest to the southeast by the 19th as it starts to bring down the warmer to the cooler side. We're talking numbers dropping as low as the upper 60s and into the low, if not mid 70s, for portions of the valley, with low temperatures beginning to start to drop in the 50s once the front starts to move into towards the central part of Mississippi, and that could extend yet up into the north around the Tennessee Valley region. And it looks like these much cooler temperatures, as far as the low wise, may extend down into Alabama and Georgia by the time we head into Monday, October 20th, which is, which is probably going to be on the next slide. The new changing train, you can call it, later on tonight and perhaps into the weekend. So there you pretty much have it there, folks, weather-wise. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and sign out of Facebook Live on this Friday night, and I hope to have the next update right back here on Monday at 8 p.m. And as always, I'll continue to post more notes or updates on my blog and social media platforms 24/7. So have a great weekend, and remember to continue to stay safe by taking care of yourselves and each other, and God bless.